favorite part of the music, Matej, as always.
What a beginning. What a beginning. I feel like we say that all the time.
Okay, I think we should tell our people this right now, like how we fake the beginnings, and we just need to figure out a way to start.
Unfortunately, Edu just got a good idea. Okay, this time I would really like to listen to our jingle when we start our video, so we can start with the idea of the music we created. But unfortunately, we didn't figure it out. We didn't play it through. It was lagging. So we're always like singing in our head, and then we start our podcast.
Yeah.
So you just have the background story of how we start.
Today is a super exciting episode because we're going to be talking about two M's, mate and music. And actually, there's
very nice.
There's a skill in music that is called audiation, where you're able to listen the music inside your head, basically, like you can sing it. So that's what we're practicing every single time. It's absolutely intentional. It's not because we are not smart enough to figure out the logistics. It's just because we want to practice audiation and get better with our musical skills every day. So everything is intentional in this podcast, guys.
Very good. Very well said, Edu. Very well said. You would be good at marketing, selling something just to make it look very good.
Selling lies. All right, man.
No, but good point. I think this is going to be very good stuff about this podcast because you have a great experience currently going through being a music educator. So I feel like when we talk about what music can be, which will be one of the topics for today's episode, I think you can relate really like freshly through your experience, which I'm really excited about to hear.
Man, I'm so excited to hear about your experiences as well, because you are pursuing music from a different, complete perspective, right? You're pursuing music as a performer, which is exciting. And now I don't care. I'm going to give the spoiler. You're going to pursue a master's in one of the best schools in the universe. And I don't know. I'm just curious to hear your progress. And I'm, of course, always here to cheer you up along the way.
I appreciate your kind words, but I think this is going to be, again, our mutual project. And you said, oh, you're a performer, and you made it sound like you are not a performer, but come on, Edu, you are also an amazing performer.
Thanks, man.
And we don't need to give each other like so much credit just to please each other, but we can actually just share what we feel and what music is able to provide us with and how it impacts our life. And maybe it can be, I think this will be a little bit challenging, especially for me, because we will talk about such a deep topic in English, and sometimes it's very hard for me to describe music in my native language, which is Czech.
Dude.
Not speaking about English, right? And
yeah,
music is sometimes so difficult to put into words that I'm also really excited about is just to challenge ourselves and to try what is going to happen.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, it's like asking somebody like, what is music is like asking them like, what is math? What is the purpose of math in the universe? And it's just like, it's so hard. It's not something that you just say makes me feel happy, makes me feel sad. But you know what makes me feel super happy actually all the time?
What?
Something called yerba mate.
Oh, yerba mate. And I'm double happy because you're the person who introduced me to this. And I remember the very first time when you told me about yerba mate, it's like, oh, that sounds terrible. And it actually tastes terrible. Why would I ever want to drink it? And then when we met in January, right? When we started recording this podcast, you reintroduced me to yerba mate, and because I got more knowledge behind it, I was like, oh, why should not I try it? Why should have not I tried it before? I was super happy that I could do it.
I introduced you to yerba mate because you were so into tea. I remember you had this like, you were trying to learn Chinese, and the way you were trying to learn Chinese was just like by immersing in the culture, and you bought this tea from Amazon and you tell me like, hey dude, this tea is awesome. So I told you, you wait until you try my tea, and I made you yerba mate, and you were like, wow, this is good. And I remember like that was your first exposure, but you didn't know of all of the benefits of yerba mate. And this is, for those of you that don't know what yerba mate is basically this green tea. Well, it's a little bit blurry. It's this green tea. I feel like, welcome to Dairy Queen. Here's your, shoot. Here's your
oh my gosh, but yeah, it doesn't work with this one.
No. But no, yerba mate is these leaves that have twice. It's not what you're thinking. I know what people, especially if you're a musician, you're thinking something different for this device. It's not what you're thinking. It's just leaves. And you add all of this container that you see here, that is probably the size of half of my hand. you fill it with these leaves, and it's so concentrated and it's so strong because you just add water to it. Like you add water, you let it sip for like a minute or 30 seconds, depending on how much intensity your yerba has, and then you drink it right away. And it's actually a traditional herb that's found in Paraguay and Argentina. I think I don't know where is it from, but they drink it usually in Uruguay, Paraguay, and Argentina. And there's a Brazilian version. The Brazilian version, because it's so warm in Brazil, they do it with ice water, and usually they add guarana flavoring or like different flavorings like lime or mint to make it like a refreshing thing for the heat. Versus in Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, they do it with warm water because it's like a tea. So it's interesting how it works. And something cool and that I always loved about yerba mate, but I didn't know, was that it has twice the amount of caffeine. Literally, I'm not going to get factual here, but I think a coffee cup is like 50 milligrams of caffeine. And yerba mate, if you sip, let's say, this thermos of water, which is 12 ounces of water, it gives you 116 milligrams of caffeine or something like that, which is ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
It makes you
actually, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it makes you like so hyped up. And the best thing of this is that when you're with caffeine, it's just like you get the spike of caffeine, like boom, and of course you get the crush, right? It's just like you start banging your head against the wall. It's just like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And you feel so tired. But yerba mate has a slow caffeine release. So it's like you drink it, you feel good right away. You peak fast, and then it's just like start going down slowly versus the regular caffeine that's just like, phew, you plummet to the floor. So I think it's awesome. Tastes wonderful. It helps you clean your stomach. It helps you with your immune system. And it has so many great things that Matej is starting to get into it. And I actually gave Matej this little container. And the reason why I gave this to Matej is because it's the most convenient yerba mate. Usually yerba mate is a mess to make and to prepare, especially because there's a straw. You're never supposed to move the straw around, right? You put the straw.
What is the name
first.
of the straw, Edu? I think it's interesting.
It's just literally bombilla. It's like straw in Spanish, but also straw. Okay. Bombilla means also like the light bulb, which is funny. But okay, I hope I don't make a mess here. But here's the deal: like it's a whole.
I can actually take it out because I don't have a tea in it.
Oh, perfect. You're just cheating. You got me all caffeinated.
I'm having water right now because it's kind of late in the afternoon.
You get me caffeinated at 8 p.m. I'm not gonna be able to fall asleep, and you're just like going. Okay, but basically what you do is like you have to put the bombilla, and then you add the tea on it, and then you have to mess with the bombilla to find the right angle. And then the bombilla is supposed to touch the very bottom of the ground. Like the bombilla is just like a straw, right? But maybe you can show them your bombilla. See, this one has the actual round shape that goes on the bottom. So it's kind of like cheating. You don't have to do the whole process. For this one, you literally just put the bombilla and you put mate on top, and that's it. And that way, when you have to clean it, this is going to be awesome, guys. When you have to clean it, you just pull the bombilla up, and it will give you this beautiful yerba mate residue over here. And you don't have to scoop, because in the traditional containers, you have to scoop up all the yerba mate crap. But with this, like, comes off right away. This is plastic. You rinse it, and then you're ready for your next yerba mate. Let's try to
Yes, and I'm super happy, Edu, that you started talking about it for several reasons, because you are Bolivian. So if you're listening to us for the first time, Edu is from Bolivia, I'm from the Czech Republic, so Europe and South America. And as you said, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, you know, this yerba mate has a very big connection with the South American and Latin culture, which is also pretty cool, because I think this is also one of our favorite parts of being international people living in the different countries, to being able to explore different cultures. And so I was very happy that you could describe it. Actually, you surprised me with the caffeine. I don't know how to pronounce it properly.
Caffeine?
But
yeah.
I actually read about it, caffeine, that the yerba mate actually has less caffeine than coffee, and that's why it gives you the lower hit of the jitterness than a coffee. Because when you drink
Wow.
coffee, the concentration is so strong that it actually can give you the kick. But because the caffeine amount is lower, it doesn't give you that strong of a kick. And what are also some of the very cool benefits, besides all of those things that Edu mentioned, is also that actually drinking yerba mate makes you feel full. So it's a very good way how you don't have to like keep on eating unhealthy things. And for example, I've been trying to practice like intermediate fasting, the time restricted feeding lately. And so I basically don't eat breakfast. And I found that if I drink yerba mate in the morning while I'm not eat breakfast or not any food in the morning, this keeps me very full. And I was trying to like research what's actually happening. And there's literally some kind of protein that is being enabled by drinking yerba mate in our guts that also sends the signals to our brain, and it says like, okay, you're feeling full. So this is also a very good side effect to all of these things that Edu just mentioned. It has also like so many antioxidants. And I used to be drinking both coffee and also tea, but actually, you know, after a while when you drink a lot of it, you feel a little bit bored maybe with the flavor, or maybe you get these caffeine hits. And so with the yerba mate, actually you don't get those, which is also very nice. And one of the very cool last things maybe we can talk about is that I also read that it's much more sustainable and much more environment friendly, as it doesn't need as much water than coffee. It doesn't need that much of water for growing, and it's just like it's much better, which is pretty cool to hear. And I just prepared like all the different things, all the different brands that we were trying to drink, and I was trying to test out so I can find the right flavor, because actually there are some varieties. Some of them are like having smoke flavor, but I also read that the smoke flavor are having carcinogens.
Carcinogenic.
So those are carcinogenic, so they are not good for you to keep drinking like long term. So you can try it with different varieties. And I feel like it would be the best time for Edu to introduce his brand for yerba mate.
Ah, man. Yeah, I drink Playerito. It's my favorite one. I don't have the bag with me, and it will be such a mess to go get it because I have the microphone very specifically located. However, though...
But the way you were pitching about yerba mate, I was almost like waiting for you to bring up your own product of yerba mate, and this is my Edu Mendoza edition, and you should all guys buy it.
Oh, yeah. This is the Edu Mendoza yerba mate, and it's the thing that will make you speak Spanish. Like, it's magical product, right? No, actually, I just did a little Google because I love proving you wrong, and...
Okay.
No, whatever. No, actually, yes, it has less caffeine, but it depends on the way you brew it. If you brew with cold water, yes, it's gonna have less caffeine, and it depends of the brand. So there's so many factors, and the time you let it sit down, that's something magical about yerba mate. If you let it sit down for 5 minutes and you drink it, it's gonna be the most bitter thing you're gonna like taste. It's like the heart of Auntie Helen.
Uncle Roger, for all of you who are listening to it.
It's as bitter as the heart of my ex, man. Like, let's put it that way. Okay, so
Ooh.
So, man, we said we wanted to keep it under 30 minutes, and we spent 13 minutes speaking about yerba mate. So I think we should start diving into
that was like
this.
8 minutes you speaking about like, giving your pitch. No,
man.
It doesn't matter. The time is not very, it shouldn't be our limitation. If we feel like we want to talk about it, we should talk about it, because that's the point of this. You know, you remember we said it as our mutual conversation, as a topic of developing even deeper friendship between us, while, you know, improving on experiencing with how to make a podcast, how to record it, how to sound better, how to, you know, make it more fluent and everything. So this is part of it, and if people like it, they can listen to it and let us know. If not, they can do other things. You know, this is not episode they should listen from the beginning to the end. In ideal case, we would be very happy about it, but we know there are so many things to do, and so it's up to you. If you guys like it, we'll be very happy if you support us.
And the fact that we're talking so much about this, and so much about, I don't know, the fact that we don't have awkward silences in our podcast is the best reflection and the best supporting evidence that we're really passionate about this, and really passionate about what we are talking about. Like, if it was something we don't care about, we wouldn't try to spend near as much time as this, and we would just mention it for the cultural factor. But you guys, everything you're hearing in this podcast is a real conversation between two international dudes trying to succeed in the American dream while developing their friendship. That's the best way of selling
And
it, right,
speaking
Matej?
about like small things that are they're helping us along the way, which yerba mate definitely is, because we need to spend a lot of time focusing in our mornings, and we both found out that mornings are very important parts of our days. And while we can ingest some caffeine through yerba mate, which is a very non-invasive way, we feel like it can help us a lot. So it can be a very good tip and trick for the future successes of anyone.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I literally drink yerba mate in front of my kids. I use a Keurig because it gives you 176 degree water, which is like the ideal temperature for brewing. And I literally sip in front of them, and they're like, "What are you drinking?" And it's just like, "It's green tea." I tell them it's green tea. I am not gonna bother of telling them like, "Edu yerba mate, the best yerba mate in the town because it has a slow caffeine," really, and pitch the whole thing. But I also like the fact that they're being exposed to multicultural things without them knowing they're being exposed, right? Because whenever they like, I have so many guys that are soccer fans, and so many of these kids recognize, "Oh my gosh, you're drinking the same thing that Messi drinks and yerba mate." And we established that connection, and I actually told them, "Yeah, it's from Argentina. My country's next from Argentina, and actually in the summer I'm gonna go to Buenos Aires and maybe I will meet Messi." And they're like, "What?" And it's awesome, like this small world after all. And I love culture related things.
And I think I also read about yerba mate the first time when you introduced me into it, that it is also like a very ritualistic thing. When you drink yerba mate, usually you drink it with a group of friends and you share the gourd. This is called the gourd, right? So you keep passing on to people and they keep all drink it from it, right?
Yeah, it's like I told you, like the social dilemma in America is that you get peer pressured into drinking alcohol, and if you don't drink one, you're the party pooper. In Argentina, if you don't drink the mate, you're a party pooper. And actually, everybody drinks from the same straw. This one is just a regular metal straw, and my straw is destroyed because accidentally it got caught in the garbage disposal processing thing, and it got chewed up. But yeah, it still works though. It's just fine. But usually I think most straws are made of copper, which is a metal that retains the bacteria away. So it's like antibacterial or something like that. And that's why people sip on it. And also, maybe you can experiment with this next time. There's people that like to dissolve like to put stevia on top of the yerba, or they also, maybe if you want the whole water to be sweet, you dissolve sugar in the water and then you drink it. There's a lot of people that love it with sugar. I'm not a huge fan of the sugar one because I like the bitterness in a way. It's just like coffee, you know. I don't like coffee with sugar, but there's people that love it. Same with mate.
I think that's a very good comparison to coffee. I feel like when people start drinking coffee and they have access to like very good coffee and understand what coffee is about, they will start drinking coffee with milk and sugar, right? But actually it's not about the coffee, it's more about the flavors and the sugar and the fat and the satisfaction that you get through the other elements rather than from the coffee itself. And I would say it's something with the yerba mate too, because I've actually found out that in some many supermarkets here in America, you can buy like canned yerba mate, which are usually flavored with lots of sugar, and they're super sweet. And I tried them, and it's kind of like drinking Coke or soda. I was still like trying to feel a little bit happy because it was yerba, so it was exciting, but it kind of ruined the whole experience for me.
It's like, imagine this, like there's a big difference when you make your own coffee, like grounding the beans and stuff, versus buying the Starbucks caramel mocha, you know, like the sweet glass bottle frappuccino. Yeah. It's like it defeats the purpose of coffee, honestly. It's just like a dessert. I don't know, but that's my personal opinion. Of course, I'm biased, and I love my coffee dark.
And also, like, speaking of dessert, one of the benefits of yerba mate that just came to my mind is that it's lowering blood sugar levels, which is also pretty healthy.
Wow. Actually,
good for heart, good for focus, good for your gut, good for your bowels movements, which is also very nice.
Yeah, man. I actually use yerba mate as my pre-workout. I always eat a granola bar, and I usually, this has been from the morning, right? Like that's the magic of this. You can let it sit even for 2 days, depending on the yerba you have. And you just keep adding water. And of course, you're going to have to let it sit longer.
I think which is also a very good thing
yeah.
that I really enjoy about it, because you can keep drinking more of it. With coffee, you just get a cup and you're finished, and it's kind of sad. You wish you would have more. But with this, like, okay, you finish one, you can get more, and it's still a similar taste. You can let it sit for longer, and it will get it back again.
You drink the whole morning. Magical. The whole morning.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's sorry for cutting you, but I think that's why yerba is a cultural device, because it's meant to last long, so you can hang out with people and you can have a conversation. Versus coffee, of course, yeah, there's a big cultural connotation with coffee, but you're not going to discuss a book with a cup of coffee, right? Versus with the yerba, you talk. I've heard that people in Argentina that have book clubs, that instead of wine, they drink yerba and they share their experiences and stuff. It's like the whole ritualistic part that we talked about.
That sounds great, and it also shows how like individualized America is right now. Like, I drink it always alone because I haven't got to the part to be with friends to share this with. So I'm kind of ruining the purpose, but it works perfectly.
Hey, what?
And with the caffeine, you said, I'm drinking it before the workout. It's also like one of the great like scientific benefits of caffeine. It helps you enhance a physical performance.
Oh yeah.
Which is so cool to think about. And it also like enhances your focus and everything. Of course, you should be probably careful when you ingest caffeine, because if you do it in the afternoon, then it can significantly impact your sleep and etc., right? But if you do it in the morning properly and in like, I would say, wise dosage, it can have so many cool benefits. And actually, there's less negative effects of caffeine on us than those positives, which is pretty cool.
I just made a super funny face, and I hope you can zoom it in. I literally covered my mouth because I was just like, that's one of my pet peeves. I literally bite my tongue. I was about to say something. I was like, no, I need to let Matej talk, man. You're cutting him too much. That's one of my pet peeves. It's like people that say, and I'm sure some people that are listening to this are gonna say, Eduardo, you're so wrong. But I hate when people say, I can drink coffee before bed and it doesn't affect me in any way. I can still go to sleep like a baby. But it's just like caffeine is a stimulant, and like either or, it's going to affect your quality of sleep. And that's something that you and I are always researching. You and I are very curious. And we know that every single little thing eventually compounds, and it's part of the large picture. The same thing with Atomic Habits, right? Like, the book Atomic Habits, I don't know who, the author, I don't even know it. James
Clear.
Yeah. The prologue of the story is that there was a coach that was trained, like the British team of bicycle. Coach? No, it was a baseball one, but it also gives the analogy of the British team, of the big bicycle rally. They were the worst ones. And he literally made sure on the Tour de France, and he made sure that every little thing got improved, like the mounting of the bicycle, the chains, the clothes that the athletes were wearing, the mattress where the athletes sleep, the recovery process, everything. Like, even if it only adds up 0.1% of improvement, eventually it will compound with all of the things that you're doing, and you're going to be able to reach an improvement of 100%, 200%, 300%. Who cares, right? And people that say, again, going back to the coffee, people that say it doesn't affect me, I can sleep like a baby. Yeah, but you're not gonna feel as rested as you could be feeling when you're deep sleeping. Your REM deep sleep cycles are gonna be affected because it's a stimulant. Same thing, like, of course, like, it's gonna stimulate your system. I feel like I'm being redundant right now, so you can cut me.
No, but it actually absolutely makes sense. Like, some people are actually much more like adjusted to consumption of caffeine, so the tolerance also gets higher the more you ingest caffeine. But there's significant research about how it influences your ability to sleep and the quality of the sleep, and it's also like split into how many hours of before sleep you ingested the caffeine for the last time, and it gives you actually data how much it can influence your sleep. Doesn't mean that you will not be able to fall asleep. You can still fall asleep, but as you said, the REM, rapid eye movement, sleep gets impacted, and then you can wake up next day, and then maybe 3 days after you feel like super groggy and you are wondering why, and maybe it might be this certain part of it.
Sleeping, man, is such an underrated science. I think there should be like a class in school that teaches us good sleeping hygiene, like good sleeping habits.
I
Because
wish I would have been aware of it
Dude.
since my freshman year.
dude, like being sleep deprived decreases your productivity, decreases your creativity, makes you feel more stressed, more anxious. It's just like, of course you hear you should sleep 8 hours, but of those 8 hours there should be 8 quality hours. Like they should teach us how to go to sleep properly, you know what I'm saying? Like use the loose clothes and cut the caffeine.
There's like
so
so many
much
cool
more.
things about sleep, and I have to tell you, like, honestly, like my freshman and my sophomore year, I was like trying to adopt the strategy that I will try my best, and I was a little bit too addicted to that American lifestyle of like doing much more than I should, just going more and more and more, and always keep going and going, which it was a little bit addictive, but it impacted my sleep that I slept less and less and less, and I feel like, okay,
Yeah.
it's okay, I'm young, I can sleep when I'm retired, but I really wasn't aware of like the impacts of my body. So even though I survived the first few semesters, but then I felt like extremely exhausted, and I was like, what is happening?
Oh man,
And like,
I'm gonna
then
embarrass you.
I was able. What happened?
I'm gonna embarrass you in front of our audience. You're so committed. Matej, my friends, Matej is the person that will try things and he will go for it. It's like, let's say he wants to wake up consistently at 5 a.m. He will wake up at 5 a.m. right? So there was this time that we went to the bar and or was like to a friend's house and we were just so drunk. It was so funny. And Matej still went to work out at 5 a.m. It's just ridiculous. And like, I feel like that's the time where you need to start realizing that life is a balance and you need to start smoothing things out. But I always admired your determination, bro. Like you're so committed.
Man, I believe like through this I learned so many great things. You know, I learned that okay, balance is important. If I wouldn't be doing it, maybe I would not still be seeking the right balance. And as you said, the balance is about like trying to improve like all the different aspects together to get somewhere. So yeah, I tried and it was great. And since I went working out, as you know, like working out and physical activity has the best impact on our body and on our health. So even though we were partying out hard, drinking beer, talking so much, so many funny stories, next day I went to the workout and I felt quite good and I could run the whole day, you know, which was pretty nice.
And I remember I hated you so much. I was so groggy, just wearing my hoodie.
I met Edu on the hallway and he looked like a zombie and he was trashed. And I was like, what's up? It's a great day. Let's do things. I'm ready for that.
You look so happy.
All the dopamine.
I hate you. I hate you right now. Yeah.
Oh, so, bro, yeah, like I think the good thing from it is like it's important to experiment, you know, try it, and if it works out, okay, be aware of it and try to find a good balance. Seeking balance is the best thing ever. And the hardest thing as well.
As a matter of fact, my friends, this is the actual secret to recover from a hangover. Like, you hear so many stories, like, what is the craziest thing you have heard that you need to recover from a hangover? In America, is like, you should keep drinking, right? Or like, maybe you should do a shot of vodka with Bloody Mary, with tomato juice. By the way. I don't know. I think the realistic way to get out of a hangover is get hydrated and literally do exercise. And we have proven that scientific fact because the night that we recorded the first episode of this podcast, we were hungover. And actually, we went to work out.
What bar we are setting for this man?
We went to work out, and then I remember like we were feeling like trash because you ended up falling asleep on my carpet. And then,
but yeah,
you were like
working out, and also, yeah. Sorry, say that.
No, you were like, Edu, you know what will make us feel better? I was like, what? And you were like, workout. And I was like, man, you're tripping. And you were like, no, Edu, let's go work out. And I was like, okay. So we ended up going to work out, and then we came back and we're so motivated because when you work out, your brain becomes more creative. You get rid of the brain fogginess, like whatever. We had some mate. It was like literally dopamine rush, and then I got my car stuck. You should put the link so that people can.
Okay, I think people from Bolivia shouldn't be driving in snow because look what he just did. What the heck?
I just wanted to offer my protein.
Eduardo, ¿qué pasa, mi güey?
I just got my car stuck in the snow. I wanted to open a protein bar. He didn't like this guy.
Oh, here we go. We need to shovel.
Go on, stick the shovel. Ah! Yeah.
2 hours later.
Your parents should be proud. We're doing the car Japanese spot treatment. Hot water with de-icer. So a little update about our situation. We have Matej scraping the ice, and my awesome neighbor Zerb is driving my car. And his girlfriend is now helping us. Look at this.
So what is the moral of the story?
If you're gonna eat while you're driving, focus on the road.
That video, oh, that was such a fun memory.
Man,
But yeah, and also
I miss
one
you.
thing that also works very well, like for the hangovers treatment, besides the working out, is also cold shower. Because cold shower is also proven to increase the levels of dopamine so much and just wakes you up immediately. So anytime I'm going this like not very comfortable hangover, I went running and then I took a cold shower and my day was restarted and I felt very nice and I could be back. But I would say in the first place, it's good to say that drinking is not as good as it sounds. Honestly, I believe it more and more and more. I enjoy the social aspect of it, and I'm not gonna lie, we got drunk quite a few times together, and those are moments that I will cherish for a very long time, maybe forever in my life. But I feel like, okay, being sober actually can bring many more positive things than being just wasted and not under control. Maybe having some drinks for the social aspect, yes, but then not being able to control yourself, I would be a little bit cautious about it. So we're not, promoting this.
No.
It's just go with the flow and try to seek balance again.
You know what though, and this is so interesting to me. Like I wish we could know the scientific reason why Matej, Tony, and I were in Chicago one night and we're so freaking tired because we had a long day full of presentations, full of tours, and we were just sitting on the bed. And I said a stupid joke, and then I started laughing, and then we started laughing, and we couldn't stop laughing for 25 minutes straight. Like we started crying, and we felt like we were drunk,
That's good.
but we were absolutely sober, And like I just wonder what triggered that, and it was just like a laughing attack, and that was the best sensation in the world. Like. I agree with you. Like you don't need to get drunk in order to have the sensation that you are having so much dopamine, and like it's amazing. It's such a great thing.
But now it's time to show what American education taught us, and that's the sense for critical thinking. So to contradict what I just said, I also believe that alcohol can be a very good boost for making friends. So if you actually get to be drinking with someone because of alcohol, increasing your confidence and you're being less scared of doing things, you're much more open to communicate with the people if it's still in that controlled level. And so if you're more open and you're opening in front of other people, you can develop a very good friendship if you're both in the same vibe. Okay, if the person is aggressive or there's something wrong, it might have the opposite effect. But in most cases, I experienced that if I was drinking alcohol in a moderate amount with someone that I had a good vibe with, it really increased and boosted the level of friendship between us, which is a good effect of it. But that's
speaking
just
about
from the point
No.
of the critical thinking, man.
Let's keep going. Speaking of that, and to support your evidence in the case, is like America is a little bit pampered, maybe spoiled in a way that you guys have alcohol from everywhere. But you just go to the basics, right? Let's just like wine, vodka, rum, or beer. But if you ever start researching in the supermarket aisle, there's actually like sake. There's actually like one time I saw a Peruvian booze called pisco. There's like amazing alcohol types, and alcohol, it was one thing that actually strengthened our friendship, because you told me, hey man, you want to try like this Slivovitz, I don't know how you pronounce it, Slivovitz?
Slivovitz is like a Czech moonshine, very strong alcohol.
Yeah, man. No, but you made me try that, and I was like mind blown, because every country has its own traditional alcohol. It's funny, and you can easily debate that alcohol is also a way to cherish cultural traditions. I made you try my Bolivian moonshine. Let's call it moonshine for simplicity purposes, but it's like a distillation. It's a distilled alcohol, right? Basically. But in Bolivia, we use grapes. In Brazil, their distilled alcohol, they use sugar cane. In your country, they do it with plum, right? With the plums, this little
Plums,
bit.
apples.
Yeah. There's also like vodka is a distillation of potatoes. It's just like crazy, man. Like alcohol can also help you connect in that cultural level if you try to see the good in it. Of course, contradicting everything we said about how much we hate alcohol.
Honestly, like if I I don't know, if you would just give alcohol in front of me, I wouldn't be super excited about it. I don't know, just my personal opinion. After maybe different experience, it's always dependent on the experience. If I would be like 5 years younger, I would be maybe crazy because I would like to try that and I would, like really want to be part of this group and maybe do it because of the peer pressure. But now because, we're both trying to be a little bit more self-aware of what we're doing. So we know that we have some choices that we can actually just wait and see what the result might be. So
so let's say like what are in your opinion the positives and the negatives of alcohol? I can start. Like in my opinion, the positives of alcohol,
go ahead.
Number one is it helps you connect with different cultures. Number two, of course, it helps you loosen up, like not necessarily get drunk, but like when you're chilling, having a drink with somebody, conversations become so much easier, right? It's relatable. You can go out, have a beer with a friend or something like that. Number three, I think it increases your focus. Sometimes if you just like do a little bit, like let's say, or some people I think use alcohol for home remedies. Like when you have a cold, you're supposed to drink a shot of whiskey, and that will like help you.
We do it with the Czech Slivovice.
Yeah, it's awesome. And finally, I think alcohol is also like a way to enrich your senses, like because I remember when I was going to Bible study, there was this male Bible study and we did whiskey and the whole experience, right? It was like the yerba mate. And the missionary that was teaching us was like, we're going to learn that alcohol is a gift from God. And when used with moderation, it can be quite enjoyable. So he used a smoker and he started smoking the whiskey and it was so delicious. Like it was like, we felt all the flavors of the malt and stuff. It was great. Now the negatives of
you
alcohol.
said the whole experience in a church, and I was thinking, is it the whole experience of drinking alcohol?
It was
in
the
church?
whole experience, brothers. And now the negatives, in my opinion, is like alcohol is something that if you don't know how to control it, can be chaotic, because people do stupid things when you're under the influence of alcohol. Number two, it can literally affect your quality of sleep, because alcohol is a stimulant, same as caffeine. Like if you drink before going to bed, unless it's like a very specific type of red wine, it's going to stimulate you. It's going to affect your REM sleep. And the third one, actually alcohol is sugar. And alcohol, when it breaks down in a molecular level, will increase your glucose and will literally make you gain way more calories than eating a whole Domino's pizza. And that's like, if you drink alcohol, you'll just have a hard time losing weight or like maintaining the weight you have. So that's why like people try to say stay away from alcohol from a physical perspective.
Yeah, so those are liquid calories and they are so hard to be aware of unless you want to measure each cup of whatever you drink, and it's not good. In this way, speaking from my perspective, I would see many more negative aspects of alcohol than positive. So I would like to add that alcohol like destroyed so many lives of so many people, unfortunately, caused so many like accidents, car accidents, and unfortunately it's also part of a business cycle, because it's lots of money being made with alcohol. So I would not be really supporting in the first place. But again with moderation, with good purposes, with good friends, why not? Enjoy yourself, but again, like be responsible. I think we both saw examples even among our friends, on campus, anywhere, that they were struggling with controlling themselves with alcohol. And I would say there's one very interesting thing also connected to culture. So for example, in the United States, you can start drinking from the age of 21. In Czech Republic is from the age of 18. How is it in Bolivia, Edu?
I had my first beer with my dad when I was like 16, 15, I don't know.
Yeah, but what is the legal age?
I think all around the world but America is 18. And actually, the fact that they're prohibiting in America until you're 21 encourages people to do it sneaky, and it just
Exactly,
I don't know,
that's what I wanted to say, and it makes it maybe even worse.
Yeah, it creates a
because
messed
people
up
really,
alcohol
it's the
culture.
Forbidden fruit, and you want to try, and I'm very curious, what is it like? Why is it forbidden? Why cannot I just do it immediately? And so even though usually the age group of college students are still like within those like under 21, they all are like most of them have very significant experience with alcohol and someone with over drinking. So that's kind of interesting to see, because in our country it's from the age of 18, but everyone has the experience maybe from the age of 14, because it's kind of social thing and it's not as strict. And I would say it has less negative impact eventually on the people that are not going super crazy about it. But I think it's very interesting how we wanted to talk about two M's, about yerba mate, and the music. And from mate, we got all the way to alcohol and spent talking like 20 minutes about alcohol, which was completely unplanned.
Hey man, go with the flow. And that's the purpose of our podcast, to have a legitimate conversation. And if it means going with the flow and sharing cultural and personal perspectives about a controversial subject, why not? I appreciate you, and I love sharing these things.
Sometimes you get motivated, sometimes you get relaxed from those things that you're getting. So if this causes you some kind of relaxation and is a more chill way of listening to something, feel free to enjoy it. Probably not very, very inspirational in many ways, but I think it was a very good talk with us, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you, Edu.
Yeah, man, this is the best way to wrap it up. And well, just to say goodbye, I think we should talk a little bit about the shirt decision. I literally put this t-shirt because I saw you wearing that t-shirt, and I was inspired to be like a hipster musician, crazy. But maybe you can say why you're wearing that t-shirt.
Actually, I have like a drawer with t-shirt, and I was going through like, which t-shirt I like and I haven't worn for a little bit, and this one was exactly like that. I had this t-shirt for 6 years, maybe even more, and I like it. So I was like, okay, I can put it on and I can feel good when we record this podcast. It has nothing to do with the hipsters or with the culture, or I just like this t-shirt.
Cool, man. I actually intentionally put this t-shirt one to match with your vibe, and two because it was my musician t-shirt. I literally bought this t-shirt because it's very loose here. And I had this big show in Sioux Falls where I played in front of 4,000 people during the summer. And it was very warm, and like I wanted something cool that would represent my identity as an emerging musician. So I call it my performing t-shirt. So it was very, very intentional.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
So please take it as a teaser for our future episode that's going to be related to music, to our very strong topic that we are very passionate to talk about, and have so many ideas that we can probably record several episodes.
The topic of the musicians talking about everything else but music.
Yeah, it probably also shows something, but we can talk about it next time. And we're also, as we said last time, getting ready for our first guest. So stay tuned, subscribe to us, especially on YouTube. I would say this is our main channel right now, but of course it works at Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We have Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram. Just find us anywhere. And if you like to listen to us, keep doing it and let us know what you think. And we'll be here back again in 2 weeks, and we're very excited about that.
And now let's play let's imagine again our jingle.
Okay.
Ready?
Two dudes in one world. Yeah. Have a great time.